Real Health Transformations is a podcast for the woman I once was and the woman I'm still becoming. It's for the new mom trusting her instincts, the seasoned mom questioning the science, and the party girl ready to trade Sunday scaries for sourdough starters. It's for the woman who's wrestled with weight, trauma, chronic illness, and the struggle to find balance in motherhood, career, and life. I'm your host, Holly Jean Mullen, a functional wellness practitioner and holistic real estate specialist. You are the expert on your body, and this show is here to help you cut through the BS, connect the dots between your health and your home, and find simple strategies that actually work for you. We'll have real conversations that matter, challenge the status quo, and keep it simple. If you're craving a calmer home, a clearer mind, or a healthier body, you're in the right place for real solutions, real encouragement, and real transformation. Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Real Health Transformations. I'm Holly Jean, and today we are diving deep into a topic that's at the core of so many health issues, but it's often misunderstood. And that is gut health. If you've been struggling with stubborn symptoms like bloating, fatigue, hormonal imbalances, or mood swings, this episode is for you. You might already know that the gut is more than just a digestion powerhouse. It is the foundation of your overall well-being. But did you know that an unhealthy gut could be the hidden culprit behind a wide range of issues, from chronic inflammation and autoimmune disorders to anxiety, even weight gain? And today we're going to explore what it really means to have a healthy gut and why it's so crucial for everything from your immune system to your hormones, and how modern life is putting this delicate balance, this microbiome. It is a delicate balance. Our modern life is putting it at risk. And I'm also going to share practical tips and insights to help you start healing your gut from the inside out, because I want you to feel your best and I want you to be able to take back control of your health. And oftentimes that starts with our bellies. So whether you are a seasoned wellness warrior or you're just beginning on your health journey, stick around because we have a lot to cover. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. But before we dive into today's discussion on gut health and leaky gut, I want to just make sure that you're getting the most out of this episode. So to really track how leaky gut might be showing up as symptoms for you, be sure you've downloaded my Body Wisdom Journal. The tracker, the food journal included in there, it'll be super helpful as we go through the different ways gut imbalances can manifest. And I want this to be applicable to you. And if you're ready to get even more specific about where you might be having gut imbalances, because, gut imbalance, that's pretty general and vague. If you want to get really specific and pinpoint where it might be an issue for you, I highly recommend doing the NAC assessment. You can find everything on my website, and I've also linked them in the show notes for easy access so you can follow along and see how this all applies to you and your situation. Also, I just want to take a quick moment and ask for your help. As you know, Real Health Transformations, this is a brand new show. We're just starting. This is episode 7. So as lucky episode 7, I just want to ask, could you leave me a review? Please rate the show. Reviews play a huge role in helping the show grow, reach more people. And if you're enjoying it, if you're enjoying this podcast and you're finding value, I would just be really grateful if you could just take a minute, leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Some of them is just clicking stars. Some of them you can write reviews, like on Apple Podcasts. But your feedback not only helps others find the show, but it also lets me know what you're loving, what you want more of. So if something in today's episode resonated with you, or if you found any of my past episodes helpful, please consider sharing that in a review. Thank you so much for your support. Like, I really, truly could not do this without you. Without you, I have no reason to be here. Anyways, all right, let's get to what really matters. Let's talk about the episode. Let's get into the topic. Gut health is crucial because it serves as the foundation for our overall well-being. In the past, on my previous show, I did a deep dive into all about how digestion works. I will link that up if you want like the nuts and bolts of how it works, but we're talking about something a little bit different here today, because the gut is not only responsible for our digestion and nutrient absorption, which that episode talks about how that works, but it also plays a key role in our immune function and our mental health and even our hormone balance. So ladies, listen up, because this is probably the number one thing that I get clients coming to me for, and that's hormones. Okay. So an unhealthy gut can lead to a range of issues beyond just digestive discomfort. It could be chronic inflammation, food sensitivities, autoimmune disorders, mood disturbances. And by maintaining a healthy gut, you're not just supporting your digestive system, you are fostering, you're nurturing a strong immune response and balanced hormones and clear, focused mind instead of feeling scatterbrained and brain fogged. Because the gut, it really, truly impacts all aspects of our health. So that's why it's essential to address and prioritize. The National Institutes of Health estimates that 1/4 of us, so let's say 70 million people, suffer from digestive issues: gas, bloating, heartburn, diarrhea, constipation, nausea. In functional medicine, we believe that these symptoms are often a result of a leaky gut. We'll talk more about that. But what is a healthy gut? We need to know what it is in order to know how to support it and keep it healthy. So a healthy gut is characterized by a balance of a diverse microbiome. Diverse is the key word here. It is an ecosystem of this beneficial bacteria and microorganisms that all work together to support our digestion, our nutrient absorption, and our immune function. And it means having a strong gut lining, integrity. You'll hear the word gut integrity. That is so crucial for preventing harmful substances from leaking into the bloodstream, which can trigger inflammation, other health issues. And a healthy gut efficiently processes and eliminates our waste. It maintains a balanced pH. It produces vital short-chain fatty acids, which are going to nourish our gut lining. So key factors that contribute to a healthy gut are going to include a diverse diet with a variety of nutrients, which is why I am always talking about diet variation. Yes, I love a keto diet, a therapeutic ketogenic diet, because it can be absolutely gut healing, but our regular lifestyle diet should be a diet with lots of variation. Other things that contribute to a healthy gut besides diet: managing stress, staying hydrated, getting regular and proper physical activity, avoiding antibiotic use or the overuse of antibiotics, or even harsh substances that disrupt the gut microbiome, which can be nature's antibiotics. If you are using herbal supplements, natural things that are considered killers for microbes and pathogens, those are the equivalent of antibiotics, guys. So in essence, a healthy gut is one that is well nourished, it's balanced, and it's protected, and that's going to allow the entire body to function optimally. So what are some signs of a digestive system that has dysfunction? In my practice, clients commonly complain of bloating, food sensitivities, hormonal dysfunction, PMS, depression, other mood type of disorders, skin issues, irritability, fatigue, low energy, joint pain, more. It's a very long list. These can all be signs of digestive system dysfunction. And this is why digestion is foundational, because this is where we start. It's a pet peeve of mine when I see people going to Facebook groups and asking for a supplement or recommendations for energy or hormones, or hey guys, what do you recommend for acne? I'm breaking out for the first time ever as an adult. What's going on? Hey guys, I don't have any energy, or my hormones are all out of whack. What can I take? Guys, there will be tons of suggestions, and you'll always get some know-it-all telling you what to do. Please stop asking internet strangers for health advice. They don't know anything about you. They don't know your health history. They don't know what else is going on. All of these symptoms can be rooted in the gut. They can be so many other things, and it just blows my mind the advice people will solicit from strangers and actually take. Maybe the asking, all right, maybe you just need some confirmation of what you're already like feeling might be something is, but taking advice from people who know nothing about you for blanket symptoms is why we spend so much time being lost and confused and frustrated and chasing our tails, not knowing why aren't things getting better. It's because we're following advice that is rooted in nothing. It comes from nowhere other than random strangers. Rant over. Let's talk about leaky gut. I know you guys have heard of leaky gut. I know at this point in life, you have to have some understanding of what leaky gut is, but I'm going to paint you a picture. Leaky gut happens when the tight junctions that hold your intestinal wall together, they start to loosen up. And I like the way Amy Myers uses this drawbridge analogy. So if you imagine your gut lining as a drawbridge and tiny little boats, like AKA micronutrients from your food, are supposed to pass through with no issues. They're going through the drawbridge. They're allowing essential nutrients to get absorbed into your bloodstream. And this system is key to making sure your body gets what it needs from the food you eat. But here's where problems come in. This is where things go awry, amiss. Our modern life, things like our poor diet, exposure to toxins. I'm looking at you, Roundup. Other things too, but I like to pick on Roundup. Chronic stress. These can cause that drawbridge to rise. And when that happens, it's not just the nutrients that are getting through, but partially digested food, microbes, bacteria, viruses, toxins. These sneak into the bloodstream. And this leads to inflammation. And if we just leave it unchecked, it can set the stage for autoimmune issues. Our digestive tract, if we think of it from mouth to anus, you know, it's this tube. It's one long tube that travels through the body. It's kind of its own world. And it's like sealed and protected within the body, kind of. We're just painting a picture here. So when we put something into our mouth, this is really the only time that we are introducing the outside world into our body, is through this digestive tube. And in that tube, it's supposed to stay, except for the drawbridge allows certain boats to pass, right? When our gut is leaky and the stuff gets out that's not supposed to, when these foreign particles get into the bloodstream and they are unrecognized by our immune system, because they don't live in the body, they live in this tube, they are marked as foe. They are not friend, like our nutrients. These are foe. And our immune system does its job, and it like launches an attack. And this is where we see allergies and autoimmune things start to appear. Foods that have molecular structures similar to the body tissues may trigger this immune response through a process known as molecular mimicry. And some of these things that would be like foods that have similar structures, the biggest offenders, the biggest culprits, gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn, legumes, nightshades, yeast. That's why when you hear of an elimination diet, those are the first to go. It's not just willy-nilly because we like to steal your joy and take away your sourdough and cheese. There's a rhyme and a reason to it. We'll start with gluten because that's the big one. And I'm just going to touch on this because this could probably be its own show, a gluten show. I'm pretty sure I will do a gluten show at some point. But gluten, it is the protein that's found wheat, barley, rye. It can even be in personal care products. Gluten has a molecular structure that can resemble certain proteins in the thyroid and other tissues. In people that have celiac disease or just gluten sensitivity, the immune system can mistakenly attack those body tissues that mimic the gluten protein. Conditions like Hashimoto's, other thyroid issues, other autoimmune disorders, it can start attacking that tissue. So this is why when you have thyroid stuff going on, one of the first dietary recommendations is to go gluten-free. It is not to steal your joy and your sourdough. Stop taking it personal. I can't tell you how many times I see people say, I have all these issues, I have this, and this, and this, but I don't want to give up gluten because people always say, have you cut out gluten? No, I don't have a gluten issue. Gluten's not the issue. I don't have digestive issues. It's not gluten. You guys, it's not the gluten, it's the protein. It's for this reason of leaky gut that cutting gluten is a top recommendation. All right. Dairy is another big one. Proteins in dairy, specifically casein, these have similar proteins to the pancreas and can trigger autoimmune response to people that could be predisposed to type 1 diabetes or other autoimmune conditions. So that's why this is important. This is especially important for people who can feel dairy intolerance or known dairy allergies, because that is one that people feel, I would say, more than gluten is dairy that has more of usually a digestive response. So where you can say, okay, dairy bothers me. Other ones, eggs. Eggs have proteins that can exacerbate conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. Soy is another big one that can potentially trigger also autoimmune thyroid conditions, especially someone with like soy allergies or soy sensitivities. Nightshades are a big one, potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants. The alkaloids in nightshade vegetables can resemble the structure of some nerve tissues and joint linings. And that's why people with autoimmune conditions tend to cut out nightshades, or if you're following an autoimmune protocol type of diet, which eliminates nightshades, it's because of this reason of this immune response that could exacerbate these conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or other autoimmune and inflammatory type conditions. They're going to be triggered by the proteins in nightshades due to this molecular mimicry. So healing the gut is, I feel like I've said crucial a lot already, but it really is just crucial in preventing that cascade of problems and also in controlling existing autoimmune conditions. For individuals with autoimmune conditions, those at risk for autoimmune conditions, we're looking at genetic factors here. Identifying and eliminating foods that can trigger this molecular mimicry response is so important. In one, managing symptoms, and two, in preventing further tissue damage. So it's important to note that not everyone that has leaky gut will have gut or digestive symptoms. that doesn't mean that you don't have leaky gut. And I'm not trying to like fear monger here. It's just, it doesn't always have to present as digestive symptoms. The symptomatic responses can be headaches, joint pain, inflammation, and symptoms presenting in other organs and body systems. So this is why elimination diets can be absolutely enlightening. The other thing I love and what I use with my local clients is the biofeedback scanning, because it will tell my clients specifically what foods they need to avoid, and in varying degrees, like whether like, yes, your body is highly sensitive to this, or hey, just like reduce this one. And I see it changing. And I'll just use a personal example for me. Eggs is something that continually comes up on my scans as something to avoid. And since I've cut it out, and I have chickens, I have eggs a lot. It's hard to not have eggs when you have them just like growing in your yard from your little fluffy feather butt friends. But I've cut out the eggs and I've seen huge improvements in my health. So it's little things. And my son he has all sorts of allergies to pretty much anything. We've been able to make big steps in his healing by following the scan that tells us what foods to avoid. And as the body heals, because we can heal and regenerate our gut, that list gets smaller. Just because something shows up now doesn't mean it always has to be there. Because as you are healing and repairing that gut lining, those sensitivities can go away. So anyways, that was a little like side rant, but this is why like testing is so important, and food allergy testing is so flawed and not accurate. So I can't say enough good things about the scan that I use. Anyways, you will not hear this from most mainstream medical doctors, but it is possible. I've seen it in my practice with my own eyeballs to improve lab markers to very low or undetectable levels for certain diagnoses. And I'm looking at you, autoimmune. Wink, wink. It's perfectly normal and possible. In some cases, not all, but in some, and I'd say more that I've seen than not, to reduce these things at the lab level to where they are low or undetectable with the proper diet and lifestyle changes. So there are many factors that can cause leaky gut, with gluten being a major culprit. As I mentioned, every time you eat gluten, it triggers the production of a protein called zonulin, which makes those tight junctions in your gut open up. Now, I know it's so hip. We're living in our sourdough era right now, ladies. And sourdough is internet fad famous for its reputation of being like this free food to just enjoy without care or consequence, because Laura Ingalls did so, and yo ho, it's a homestead life for me. I get it. It's so trendy, but I tell y'all, the gluten and the glycemic response itself can make the sourdough bread a not so great choice for many of you dealing with this laundry list of symptoms and issues that I've mentioned, and or have the beginning stages of metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance. Okay, moving on. Other common causes of leaky gut. I'm going to kind of go through this pretty quickly. Oh, there's so much to cover. This is going to have to be a 2-part episode because I'm 23 minutes in already and I'm just getting started, y'all. All right. Other things that are going to cause leaky gut: candida overgrowth, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that's the SIBO, parasites, even your stress and your everyday toxin exposure can play a role in causing leaky gut. Notice the microbes at play here. The candida, the SIBO, the gut microbiome plays a critical role in maintaining the integrity of the gut lining. So when it's out of balance, it can contribute to the development of leaky gut. And a healthy gut microbiome is made up of a diverse Diverse, keyword, as I mentioned before, it's a diverse community of beneficial bacteria that help maintain this gut barrier. And these bacteria produce substances like short-chain fatty acids, which nourish the cells, and they keep that tight junction closed, strong, tight. Okay? Oh gosh, guys. We're just scratching the surface, dipping our toe in the water here of this massive ocean of a topic of gut health and microbiome. I will say I had a difficult time outlining this episode to try to keep it as a reasonable length of time. I feel like everything I say, I could be saying several other tidbits to go with it because it is just so much to cover. So I'm just going to kind of sum up this little section because there's other things that I really want to cover today. But I know most people think about the gut microbiome. Most people know about this. Like, it's common. We have a gut microbiome, gut-brain connection. Like, that is very common knowledge these days. But that's about as deep as it goes. We hear, oh, take a probiotic. There you go. There's your gut microbiome support. The probiotic section at the health food store is massive. Okay. But I will tell you that maintaining a healthy gut and nourishing this ecosystem of microbes goes well beyond popping a probiotic, drinking some kombucha, or eating some yogurt. Okay, decided. I'm going to have to do a part 2 episode. And on the next part, I'll just have to dive deeper into the everyday things that we do that destroy our gut microbiome, because there are so many common practices that we have where we don't think about the ramifications of it, which leads to leaky gut. There are things that we need to do to nourish and re-inoculate the gut for microbiome that are beyond just eating some yogurt. So this episode, I want to talk more about the role the gut plays in some of the most common symptoms I see in my practice, so you can understand that gut health goes beyond the gut, especially ladies, when it comes to your mood, energy, fatigue, and hormones. Is it perimenopause or is it your gut? Let's find out. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Gut health and hormone production, these are deeply interconnected with, again, the gut plays a crucial role here in both the creation and the regulation of your hormones. And it is the gut microbiome, that community of bacteria living in your digestive tract, that influences how hormones are produced, how they're metabolized, and how they are balanced in the body. And one of the key ways this connection shows up is through the gut's influence on estrogen. A healthy gut microbiome helps regulate estrogen levels by breaking down excess estrogen and ensuring it's properly excreted from the body. And when gut health is compromised, this process can be disrupted, leading to estrogen dominance, big buzzword. This is a common factor in symptoms like PMS, heavy periods, even certain types of breast cancer. And another link is with cortisol, another big buzzword right now. Cortisol, estrogen dominance. These are things that you ladies are asking about. And so it's so important that you understand where the gut comes in. Cortisol, yes, it's our stress hormone, but it's not necessarily a bad hormone. It's usually when we're talking about cortisol, I feel like it's painted in a bad light, but it's an important and necessary hormone, which, oh my gosh, my list of future episodes is growing because I probably need to do an episode just on cortisol. But an unhealthy gut can lead to chronic inflammation, which I mentioned. Chronic inflammation is a stress that is going to trigger an overproduction of cortisol. Inflammation is a stress to the body. And when it becomes chronic, like it is in so many people, that chronic inflammation leads to chronic stress in the body, chronic elevated cortisol in the body. Let's do a little breakdown of cortisol, a little mini episode within the episode. When cortisol is elevated for long periods of time, the body enters a state of chronic stress, which can have a wide range of negative effects. This part we know. This is what people are talking about. Elevated cortisol levels over an extended period of time can lead to issues such as weight gain, particularly around the abdomen, that belly fat, ladies, that we're trying to get rid of. The crunchies aren't going to do it in this case. It's going to lead to high blood pressure, immune system suppression, blood sugar imbalances, and the cognitive decline. So that's where you're getting the brain fog and you can't remember things and you just don't feel as sharp as you used to. It's also going to disrupt your sleep patterns, leading to even more fatigue and mood disorders. This is where anxiety and depression are going to come into play. And as the body continues to pump out cortisol to deal with this ongoing stress, the adrenal glands, which are responsible for producing our cortisol, they're going to become overworked. So this is that term that you've heard from this constant demand is going to lead to adrenal fatigue. And in this state, this is where the adrenals just struggle to produce enough cortisol to meet the body's needs. And that's going to result in symptoms. You're going to be tired. You're going to have brain fog, low energy. You're going to have a weakened ability to handle stress. So when you start freaking out for little things, when you feel like you just can't handle anymore, that is your adrenals saying, I can't keep up. Help me. I'm waving the white flag, red flag. It is a red flag, but it's also, we're waving the white flag. They're giving up. And it's this shift from high cortisol to low cortisol, this output of the shifting, that's what can leave you feeling just completely drained, both physically and mentally. It is a vicious cycle where the body's initial response to stress, that high cortisol, it eventually depletes the adrenals, leading to all these other health problems. So managing stress and supporting our adrenal health are going to be a top priority for breaking this cycle and restoring balance. It's not just taking a pill. It's not just some adaptogens. It's deeper than that, ladies. Going back to my rant of asking social media what you can do. Do you see how this is deeper than just, I need a supplement? All right. If you need to work on balancing cortisol, you can't ignore your gut. Make sure you are getting the nutrients you need because the stress response and the adrenals require a lot of minerals. Hello, adrenal cocktails. That's why they're so helpful. But you also need to be digesting and absorbing and assimilating those nutrients for them to be able to help you. So continuing on with gut and hormones, serotonin, you may have heard it called our feel-good hormone. This is also heavily influenced by the gut, with about 90% of our serotonin being produced in the digestive tract. If your gut isn't functioning well, serotonin production can be affected. That's going to lead to mood swings, depression, anxiety. This means that the state of your gut health directly influences your mental and emotional health. So one of the things I'm always having my clients do is spend more time outside, especially at sunrise and sunset. I know this sounds like ridiculous advice in our modern culture of just give me a supplement to help me deal with the stress. Give me a supplement for sleep. Give me a pill for my weight gain. Give me a pill for inflammation. Give me a pill for pain. We just want a pill for things. But here's why I do this recommendation. As simple and free as it is, and as ridiculous as it might sound to you, sunlight plays a significant role in regulating the production of both melatonin and serotonin, which are essential for mood, sleep, and overall well-being. Serotonin, remember, this is our feel-good hormone. It is closely tied to exposure to natural light. And when the sunlight hits your eyes, it stimulates the retina, which then sends a signal to the brain's hypothalamus. This triggers the release of serotonin from the brain, and higher levels of serotonin are associated with improved mood, feelings of well-being, and increased focus. That's why it's the feel-good hormone. So during the day, especially in the morning. Exposure to the sunlight and the spectrum of light that comes from the sun, it helps boost serotonin production. It's going to set a positive tone for the day. And this is one reason why spending time outdoors or in natural sunlight environments can really help combat depression and anxiety. It's not the fresh air. Everyone says, go get fresh air, but it's like, no, go get some sunlight. Fresh air is a bonus, but go get some sunlight. This is why people feel more energetic and happier on sunny days or in the summertime. Who's not happy in the summertime? I guess if you don't like the sun or heat, but maybe you need more sun. So melatonin, it's the flip side, right? These are the yin and the yang here. Melatonin, you know this as our sleep hormone. It's produced by the pineal gland, and it's needed for regulating our sleep-wake cycles. And the production of melatonin is influenced by the body's exposure to light and darkness. And during the day, that exposure to sunlight keeps melatonin production low, which is what helps you stay awake and alert. And as the day progresses and the light exposure decreases, that melatonin production begins to rise. It's preparing our body for sleep. In the evening, as it gets darker, it reduces the light signals to the brain, and the brain knows, okay, it's time to start producing more melatonin. And this natural increase in melatonin induces that sleepiness, and it regulates our circadian rhythm, and it helps us get a good night of sleep. But this is where things are like dependent upon each other. The balance between serotonin and melatonin, we need to have that balance to have a healthy sleep-wake cycle and for overall mood. So sunlight exposure during the day boosts our serotonin levels, which improves our mood, but it also acts as a precursor to melatonin production in the evening. So serotonin produced during the day is later converted into melatonin as the light fades, helping you wind down and prepare for sleep. We have to have both. The sunlight is vital for regulating the production of both the serotonin and the melatonin, and it's going to influence everything from our mood to sleep, our sleep quality, and our gut health. So ensuring that you get natural light during the day, especially in the morning, and minimizing light exposure in the evening, so is where those blue blocker glasses come into play. That's going to significantly enhance both your mental and your physical health. Additional bonus here, a healthy gut microbiome supports the effective production and the regulation of these neurotransmitters. This is emphasizing here the importance of maintaining both gut health and proper light exposure for overall well-being. Let's talk about supplementing with melatonin, because I can hear you asking, well, what about melatonin supplements? Because people take them all the time and they give them to their children. There are issues with this, y'all. Supplementing with melatonin can be helpful in certain situations. I am not just going to say it's bad. Short-term use to adjust to new time zones like jet lag, or to help with temporary sleep disturbances. Okay, but relying on melatonin supplements as a long-term solution for your sleep issues, it's not the best approach. It is a Band-Aid. It is not solving the problem, and there are risks associated with it. If you're taking a melatonin as a supplement, it can have several risks, particularly when you're using them long-term, and that is because melatonin is a hormone, and supplementing with it can disrupt our body's natural hormone balance, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do, right? It's especially concerning for children and adolescents because it can interfere with puberty and reproductive development. And if you're using these regularly, it's going to interfere with our body's natural production of the hormone. It's going to make it harder for your body to produce melatonin on its own, which is counterproductive, particularly if you stop taking the supplement suddenly. You're like, oh no, what just happened? something people don't normally mention because I feel like popping a melatonin pill is just as common as popping an ibuprofen, right? People don't think of the consequences. They think it's so common. It's just here, let's just pop it. There are risks, especially when it comes to if you're taking other medications. There can be interaction. If you're on blood thinners, immune suppressing drugs, diabetes medications, birth control pills, these can have interactions and pose problems, especially if you have other health conditions like autoimmune, where melatonin might exacerbate autoimmune disorders because it can influence the immune system. And while melatonin has immune modulating properties, it means it can both stimulate and suppress immune responses. So this dual action can be problematic for people that have autoimmune conditions. When you have autoimmune, your system is already overactive because it's already like attacking body tissues. Since melatonin can stimulate certain parts of immune function, taking it as a supplement might enhance this overactivity, which can worsen your autoimmune symptoms. For example, its melatonin has been shown to increase the production of certain cytokines, which are proteins that regulate the immune response. And that's going to lead to increased inflammation in individuals with autoimmune. And because of this, you're going to have more symptoms. It can lead to flare-ups or make your existing autoimmune conditions more difficult to manage. So again, this kind of goes back. All the more reason to stop taking internet advice from strangers. Someone goes onto a Facebook chat and it's like, I'm having trouble sleeping. People are like, oh, take some melatonin. Just stop. Stop taking health advice from people who don't know your health history. No matter how benign, because how benign does this seem? It seems like no big deal, right? I see it all the time. Anyways, I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep with the sunlight though, because the sunlight can influence our gut health and the microbiome in other ways beyond just serotonin and melatonin, which are important. Those two things are important for hormones, mood, but there are other things. And one thing that people commonly know of when they think of the sun and what it can do is help with our vitamin D. The sunlight can help with vitamin D synthesis. It happens when the sun is exposed to UVB rays. We need vitamin D to maintain a healthy gut, and it supports the gut barrier function. Vitamin D helps reduce the risk of developing leaky gut. It also plays a role in our immune system. We know our immune system and our gut are closely tied together. So we need those adequate levels of vitamin D, and having high levels of vitamin D are associated with a more diverse, balanced gut microbiome. And which we are knowing and understanding now from this episode that is important for overall gut health and reducing inflammation. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it, but I didn't dive into it. But the gut microbiome does play a role in metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, diabetes, obesity. This is big, guys. And that is actually a big part of what I'll talk about in the part 2 of this episode that is already almost 45 minutes long, guys. I gotta start wrapping this up. There is a significant connection between low vitamin D levels and insulin resistance. I am going to have to just table that. There is so much I have to say about the relationship between vitamin D, our microbiome, insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome. That is going to be a separate episode. I promise, and it will be soon because it's a big one. I have a whole section on it in my notes here, but since just for time, I'm just going to skip ahead and I'm going to stick with this sunlight, circadian, digestive, hormone, mood theme we have going on here. Interesting, the gut has its own circadian rhythm, which is going to influence our digestion, our nutrient absorption, and the production of enzymes. When people say it doesn't matter when you eat, this is big in the calories in, calories out model, is that it doesn't matter when you eat, as long as you're eating in a deficit or as long as it fits your macros. This is why I will say it's a lie. There might be some truth to it. It just kind of depends on the person and the level of their gut health integrity. But when we disrupt these rhythms that the gut has, it can also be disrupted and caused by inadequate sunlight exposure or irregular light-dark cycles. So this can lead to dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of the gut bacteria. It can lead to slower digestion. Sunlight helps regulate these circadian rhythms, which are not only important for our sleep. When we hear circadian rhythm, we think of sleep, but everything in our body runs on a cycle, a rhythm. But it's going to be important for the timing of our digestive processes. Your digestion is most powerful. You have the strongest digestive power at high noon. No, we're not talking like a Western movie where we're going to meet at high noon for a showdown. But high noon, when the sun is the highest during the day, usually that's like around noonish, that is when you have the highest digestive power. All right, let's sum up sunlight and hormones. We're getting close here. In short, if your gut health is out of whack, it's not just your digestion that suffers. Your hormones can go haywire too. And this can manifest as those symptoms that you are most likely going to the internet for or trying to find someone to help you with. This is going to be your mood disorders, anxiety, more physical symptoms like irregular periods, hot flashes, other signs of hormonal imbalance. They go hand in hand. Keeping your gut healthy is the key to maintaining hormone balance. Keeping your gut healthy is the key to feeling your best. That's why I am always starting with the gut. We will talk about more ways to support gut health. As I said, there'll be another episode, but we cannot overlook the free access we have to sunlight. I will shout it from the rooftops. God did not make mistakes. He gave us everything we need to live, be, and stay healthy. And the sunlight plays a crucial role in our gut health through these various pathways, including the production of vitamin D, regulation of our immune system, the alignment of our circadian rhythms, the effects on our microbial metabolism, and stress reduction. These factors just underscore the importance of sunlight for not just overall health, but specifically for maintaining a balanced and healthy gut microbiome. Gut and mood, real quick here. When the gut is out of balance, whether that is due to a poor diet or chronic stress or an overgrowth of harmful bacteria, this can lead to mood disorders, talking anxiety, depression, irritability. And for many of these mood changes, they can feel like they come out of nowhere. And that's going to lead to this sense of helplessness and frustration. And sometimes they come and go. It's as if like your emotions are running the show. And no matter what you do, you just can't seem to get it back in control, or you can't get a hold over it. So understanding this link between gut health and neurotransmitter production, it can be incredibly empowering, you guys. We have the power to change these things. And by recognizing that your mood changes might be rooted in gut imbalances, you just open up these new avenues for healing and for taking back control. Instead of feeling at the mercy of your emotions, we can now focus on improving gut health through diet changes, through stress management, and other holistic approaches that are going to support a more balanced microbiome. It's this perspective shift from seeing mood changes as uncontrollable and just for no reason. It helps us see and understand their connection to gut health. And it can make a world of difference when it comes to healing. It empowers you to take proactive steps towards healing rather than just managing your symptoms. By nurturing your gut, you're not just supporting your physical health, you're also fostering a stable, more positive emotional state that's going to lead to happier, more balanced life. And that makes for happier, people around you too. When we're happy, we radiate that, and it can bring other people's moods up. All right, we are approaching the hour. So as we wrap up today's episode, I really just hope that you can see how vital gut health is. And not just for digestion, but for your overall well-being, including hormones and mood, because those are what I'm seeing the most clinically with people coming in and presenting as. Your gut is about more than just taking probiotics or eating a certain way. It's about this holistic approach that's going to include diet, yes, but it also includes lifestyle changes, incorporating lifestyle habits, managing stress levels. And we can no longer just use stress as the scapegoat. Our relationship with the natural world, that is going to influence our gut microbiome. Everyone's journey to better gut health will look different. And that's why it's so important to personalize your approach and listen to your body. I encourage you to please take what you've learned today and start making small, but those small changes are meaningful changes. If you feel like you need more personal guidance, please download the journal, the tracker, get yourself a knack from the show notes, but also don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. This is what I do, guys. This is my business. This is why I do the show, so that I can help you, educate you, but also be a resource for you. All right. Again, if you liked this episode, just take a moment to follow and subscribe to the podcast on your platform of choice. You probably have it open in your hand right now. I'd really appreciate it. This is what really helps the show get visibility. And while you're there, go ahead and tap on the name of the show. You can go to that part that says ratings and reviews or rate show. Tap on that, leave your rating, or Apple iTunes. It'll let you actually write a review. Spotify, you can just leave some stars. But I thank you. I appreciate you. And just thanks for tuning in. I look forward to continuing this conversation in future episodes where we'll dive even deeper on how to heal and support your gut naturally, looking at other ways, because there's just so much more to this conversation. That is the end of today's show. And if you want to join me in taking a moment just to kind of center ourselves in prayer before we go, you are welcome to. Otherwise, I thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on the next episode. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the gift of our bodies, for the intricate ways you have designed us, and for the wisdom you've provided in understanding our health. We ask your guidance as we seek to nurture and care for our bodies, especially in the areas where we may be struggling. And Lord, just help us to be mindful of the foods we eat and the habits we form and the way we live our lives, so that we may honor the bodies you've given us. I pray that you grant us the strength to make the changes we need and the patience to trust in the process of healing. We just pray for those who are listening today, that they may find clarity and encouragement in their health journeys, and may your peace be with them as they take steps towards better health, and may they always feel your presence guiding them along the way. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Thanks for listening to Real Health Transformations. I hope this episode met you where you are and helped you cut through the noise, maybe get a little closer to the real practical solutions you've been looking for. Remember, everything shared here is for education and for inspiration, not medical advice. I am not your doctor. I am a podcast host. I am your encouraging digital friend. Always do what is right for you and consult a trusted healthcare provider before making any big changes. If you loved what you heard today, please subscribe, share with a friend, and let's keep having the conversations that matter without the fluff. Find me on Instagram. Let's keep this conversation going and keep questioning things. Keep finding what works for you. You've got this. I'll see you next time.